Hey guys, the Smoky Medic here. I'm going to try to do this video for the third damn time. The first time I got interrupted by the dogs. They were acting crazy. They wanted attention. And the second time I just wasn't pleased with how I did my presentation. Um, so what's this going to be about today? Coffee. The coffee. Well, this is going to be about watches. You've probably noticed in pretty much all my videos I'm wearing a watch. I post on my Pocket Dump, EDC, pictures too usually. I like watches. It's something that I've gotten into the past several years. Am I an expert in watches? Absolutely not. I am still learning. There's still a lot I need to learn about watches. I just kind of know what I like and what I appreciate. I've been wearing a watch since I was really young. I don't remember how old I was. I actually still have that first watch. I'm going to show it to you. It is a Timex Triathlon Ironman. It actually still works. The batteries are just dead. I need to get. I'm going to put new batteries in this. I'm going to get new watch strap and actually put this into my rotation, just for sentimental reasons. Tough watches, man. Actually, I have another Timex Ironman 2. I bought this last year. Just an inexpensive watch to maybe use as a work watch or something like that. I wore it for a while to work, and also I don't wear it because I like my other watches more. But good watch. Good watches for inexpensive prices. Why do I like the watches? For I like just the utility other than the use. Looked at my hand. I have the time. If it has a date window, I have the date. I use the second hands to, take people's pulse rates and whatnot. Quick reference for documentation and everything. And I think for most knife, gun, and gear guys, car guys, motorcycle guys, things like that, we all appreciate like the craftsmanship, design, and engineering that goes into these watches. I think that's pretty much the main reason. Just like why we like all these different types of knives, all these different types of guns. We just appreciate the craftsmanship that goes into them. So you've got two different kinds of watches. You've got digital. I don't think I have to explain that anymore. You have analog. What's analog? Analog. You've got the second, the hour, minute, and second hands. It's got gears. It has watch works on the inside. I prefer analog watches myself. Why? I like the looks of them. I like the craftsmanship that goes into them. That being said, I already showed you two digital watches I own. Now, another digital watch I own, that was my second quality watch, Casio G-Shock, missing part of the strap. Need to get a new watch strap. Start wearing this again every once in a while. Casio G-Shock is, quite frankly, probably the best digital watch out there. If you just want a good digital watch, Casio G-Shock, you can get Casio G-Shocks depending on what exact model, anywhere from around probably down to 40 on them up to like a few hundred, $300. Just depends on if it's battery or solar powered and what other features are built into the watch. Tough watches. Mine looks like it's been drugged behind a truck and still works. If you break one, you should be given a medal for being able to break one. Fantastic watches, really, they really are. I would not hesitate to buy one. You can find them at Walmart's, Kmart's, usually Kohl's department stores have good selections of them as well. Be found everywhere. Of course, you can get them off Amazon or whatnot, but it's always nice to be able to put your hands on watches and see what you like. Now, going to analog watches, again, the watches I prefer and that I will buy for the rest of my life, you pretty much have two different types of movement. You have quartz movement, which is battery powered. You have to have a watch battery in it to work, which that's fine. But then you have mechanical movement. Now, that means there's no battery. The watch stays wound and running by the motion of your body and your arms moving as you're wearing the watch. So you never have to worry about a battery dying. My watches, I can tell you, if I don't wear them for about 24 hours, they will stop. That's no big deal. You just manually wind them. One drawback is they do take more maintenance. You actually are supposed to, depending on manufacturer, it's going to depend manufacturer to manufacturer mostly. You have to have them serviced by a watchsmith. So a watchsmith will go in and make sure everything's lubricated and tuned correctly. Just like you would take your car and you get a tune-up, pretty much. Which I still think it's worth it. It's an investment. It's something that you are going to have. The watches that I own, the analog watches at least. I don't know about the digital watches, but at least the analog watches, I can have these the rest of my life, and I could pass these down to my kid or kids, grandkids, so on and so forth. As long as they're kept up properly, right? I mean, you have cars running around that are, some of the first cars ever produced. Same thing with watches. There's watches out there that are hundreds of years old that are still running. Anyway, let's get to the watches themselves. Have my first quality analog watch, mechanical. These are both mechanical watches I'm going to show you. It was actually gifted by a friend of mine. It's a Seiko. It's a 7000 series. I'm not going to give you the exact number. Bore you with that. I actually it's a dive watch. I believe it's supposed to be waterproof down to 300 meters. Look at how thick that is. I was actually asking a friend of mine who is even more knowledgeable about watches than I am. He owns watches. He owns the Casio G-Shock up to Rolex. He appreciates watches in all different designs, forms, price ranges for what they are. But I've been seeing these Seikos for sale, like on gun and knife forums and eBay and whatnot, for pretty decent prices. And he goes, "Those are good." He said, "Those are good watches. Those are damn good watches." He's like, "They're built like a tank, and they're pretty good value watches." He's like, "I actually have one." He goes, "You can have it. I don't ever wear it." And I was like, "No, I'd like to take a look at it though." So next time I saw him, he had it, and he just gave it to me. He's like, "Just take it." He's like, "I never wear it." It was actually gifted to him from his younger brother. I believe it was when he was in basic training or his first duty station. He bought it at a PX, and he never wore it. He wore other higher-end watches, gave it to him, and he never wore it because he had other high-end watches and gifted it to me. So thank you very much. I really appreciate that. You helped start my addiction to nice watches. Just fantastic watch. It does need to be serviced pretty bad. I don't think it's ever been serviced. So his brother just retired after 20 years in the Army. I think it was last year before. So this watch is easily 20, 21, 22 years old. So I do need to get it serviced, even though it functions just fine. It will lose time throughout the day eventually, but I can always reset it. But I need to take it to my local watchsmith and have it serviced. It's got the movable crown. Now, what is this? What is this? People are like, what is that? I don't know what that is. There are a lot of, cheap watches people buy. Well, you see that little upside down arrow at the 12 o'clock? What you do is you move that arrow to the minute hand. And you have 5, 10, 15, all the way to 60 minutes back at the arrow. It's a timer. So divers would use this to time whatever it is they have time, how long they're under water, their ascent, their descent, whatever. I don't know what divers have to time necessarily. But everyday person, I've used this for things. I've used it for, timing freaking pizzas in the oven, or, you're outside doing something, you need to know, keep track of how many minutes you're doing it. Set that, easy reference. Just a fantastic watch. And then, the second good quality watch I ever bought was from it's a Maritech Pilot's watch. Maritech is a pretty interesting company. I believe they're actually owned by Countycom, which I'll put a link to Countycom in the description box. And they make some pretty cool products. They make some nylon products and some other gadgetry. They make some neat little flashlights. But then they started making watches several years ago. And this was about a $300 watch. I believe it's $300 on their website still. It actually uses Citizen Watch movement, which Citizen watches are very, very highly regarded, very well known watch brand. So you're getting pretty much a Citizen higher end Citizen watch movement, just in a watch with a different name. Um, does have a luminescent face. It's actually the same luminescence paint as Rolex uses, I guess, from what my Rolex buddy tells me. Love this watch. It is a big watch. I mean, look, you can just tell from, you know, next to the Seiko how big it is, really. Get a lot of compliments on both these watches. Automatic movement, again. It's got a silicone strap, which I purchased because it's really good for work. If I really think I got some gook on it, I just take out some sandy wipes and wipe it down. Originally came with a NATO strap. This NATO strap is from Meritech too. Meritech has a bunch of different watch straps. This is actually the James Bond 007 watch strap. Replica of a watch strap that actually James Bond had on one of his Omega watches in some of the earlier James Bond films. So that's pretty cool. I know after my buddy gave this to me and I got this watch strap, I said, hey, I got a new strap for the watch. And he saw it and he goes, that makes that watch. He's like, that is slick. And it is a very, very appealing watch. One thing with mechanical watches that you really need, I have failed to do this yet, and I need to. I need to do my research, find a good one, and buy it. Is you really need to keep, when you're not wearing them, you need to keep them in a winder. Now, what is that? It's usually a box you place your watches into, and it has something that either vibrates or spins. You spin the watch. That keeps that momentum going and keeps the watch running, wound, and tuned correctly. Again, I haven't had one yet in the several years I've had these watches, but I need to get one. I need to get one for these watches and for any mechanical watches I'm going to get in the future. You can usually find those on eBay pretty inexpensive, but I want to make sure I get a good quality one that's going to last. I'm kind of a buy once, cry once type of guy. If you're looking to get into watches, if you don't really care about anything, you just want a good quality watch, inexpensive, and you prefer digital, I would say go for the Casio G-Shock series, whatever model you want. If you really want cheaper watch, you definitely check out the Timex Ironman series. But if you're looking to get into the analog watches and mechanical watches, or even some of the quartz, nothing wrong with quartz movements at all. You can get them for less expensive prices than what the mechanical watches go for usually. Definitely check out Meritech. They've got a few other models on there right now that are pretty slick. Seiko. What else? Citizen. Invicta. Invicta is actually a Russian company. And some watch snobs talk a lot of smack about them, and they'll say, well, they're the cold steel knives of the watch community. That's meant to be an insult, but you know what? Cold Steel makes good shit. They have some gimmicky type stuff, but when it comes down to it, they're quality knives, and you can't take that away from them. I own some Cold Steel knives, and I own knives that are custom knives that cost a few hundred, several $100s. And the Cold Steel knives can hold their own with those knives. So they have some gaudy looking watches, but they have some really slick, classy looking watches too that can be found for very inexpensive prices. You're starting to find them more at department stores. I think the last time I was in a Sam's Club, they even had them. You can get them on Amazon for ridiculously low prices. I like to hold the watches and try them on before I do it. But with the prices you can get the Invictus for on Amazon, it's worth the shot just to, I like that one and buy it and see how you like it. What else you got? You also, of course, you've got Marathon watches. Marathon's a Swiss company, and I'll put a link to the website where you can get those. County Com used to sell them. I haven't seen them on County Com's website for a long time, and the company that was actually importing them, BroadArrow.com. to the United States. I haven't seen them on their website for a long time either, so I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know if they're not being made anymore, if something went wrong with the importing of them, or if they're just waiting on more. Not really sure. Those were really good watches for the money. They usually cost $400, $500, $600, $700 some dollars, depending on which model you got exactly. But if you looked at how they were built, what features, they are actually really good value watches. Had a chance to wear one of those watches for about a month, and I loved it. And I kicked myself in the ass for never getting one. And of course, you have your really high-end watches. You know, your Swiss German watches, like Omega, Rolex, things like that. I hope to own an Omega Seamaster someday with a blue face, unless something else comes out. I'll have one someday. I will. There's a few other companies too. I'm not gonna try to even pronounce the name of this one I've been seeing lately that gets good reviews, and they have some really good designs for really inexpensive prices. I'm gonna put a link to a few of them in the description box so you guys can look at them. But I'm going to do some more research on those first before I say they're good to go or not. I'm just going to put a link so that way maybe you guys can do your own research. So this is a Smoky Medic. Just my watches, what I like with what little I know. One thing I will say is, if you do get in the watches, do yourself a favor. This is just you can get this for like a few dollars off Amazon. This is a tension bar tool where you use to loosen the tension bar to change the watch straps. Just so that way you can do them yourself. You're not taking anywhere. Definitely get one of those if you get into watches. Smoky Medic. You guys have a good one. Hope this kind of gets your brain going with maybe trying out some cool watches. Guys, have a good day. We'll talk to you later.